5 seconds remaining.
They're lucky. It's good that they
have.
and it gives them
It's a little bit of an edge to EG.
Oof, okay, giving EG the edge in our first draft of our first semi-final. It's time. All right, you've been waiting for the Dota. We've waited long enough. And so I can introduce your casting pair for the first game of our first semi-final for the Boston Major. It's the dudes from Down Under. It's Gods and Toby 1.
That's right. While we can't have a competitive Australian in the finals, maybe we...
Toby, come on.
Almost.
We've got Honor. We've
Close.
got one left.
Close, maybe. That's if OG can win. This crowd seems to be backing EG a little bit, but anything is possible. OG as well as EG. We've got major winners. We've got TI into the best of 5 grand final for the Boston Major.
It's crazy to think there is 3 teams with former OG members in the semi-finals between DC, OG, and EG. There's a very high chance we're going to have a 3-time major winner between the current OG players as well as Crit on EG as well as Moonmeander on DC, but we'll have to see. Maybe Adfinin will have a thing or two to say about it. Right now, EG going with a very aggressive smoke maneuver into the enemy jungle through the mid lane.
Yeah, they're not going to find anyone though. OG is preparing themselves for the bot rune, but this will allow EG to establish some aggressive ward control if they want to. Not the biggest game for this to happen, as OG aren't really running a jungler, Clockwork, a hero who stays in the off lane, doesn't want to back out and say, hey, I'm going to do what we saw Axe do yesterday, where it's like just lane completely, get some heavy farm.
I haven't seen where they want to put their second observer ward yet. Now they'll plant it just to help protect the off lane from some of those rotations. And I mean, for EG, you're pretty happy with that movement, even though you got nothing out of it because you get 2 really nice, difficult to plant wards typically. But OG similarly have got that cliff ward, so they're going to see a whole lot as EG look to go for an aggressive tri-lane, it seems. Well, they've already got Naga rotating bottom, so they've seen enough that they see the aggro tri-lane, and Naga is not having any of it.
Yeah, and EG don't want anything to do with it either. Universe is headed down to the south, so okay. Everyone with the lane switch up. Thanks to that Dire Observer ward sitting up next to the tower. You still haven't had EG. Okay, now Zai's going to come in range. They see Crit as well, so OG are very well aware of what's going on, pinging out the fact that Zai is already making a break for that side shot. So they've got to be careful about this. But with S4 with the cog block, he's going to hold him back. And it's a nice lane. Fly and S4 together, this Keeper of the Light plus Clockwork, very difficult to engage on, and you might take a lot of harassment to do so.
That's the thing. Having Coddle against the tri-lane is really nice because you can hit 3 heroes with Illuminate, so you can't get too aggressive on S4 because you'll just take a lot of harass, and Rubik is enough to help support No-Tail down bottom. He can help just put enough pressure onto the Universe Nyx Assassin that No-Tail should get relative free farm down here.
This is also a beautiful lane. No-Tail, when he plays this Naga, he's done it before, and I was waiting for it to happen in the draft where we saw like the OG Pudge come in combination. They've done it with combination with the Clockwork. And No-Tail, when he would run it in that scenario, was always this great zone to go for exactly the same item build he's gone here, and he just moves in, riptides out the hero, and just that zones out the offlaner. Now, in this case, he's got a Rubik behind him, so he's already able to zone out the offlaner, give Jirax a little bit more space, but with the pull over that Jirax has done, this is just giving all the free farm on the bottom lane to No-Tail.
Yeah, it's a nice play to try and deny farm and XP from Universe. He'll get the split XP with the neutrals when he comes in, but No-Tail able to farm pretty well under his tower, already picks up the Quelling Blade. Mid lane though, it's the 1v1, the Sumail versus Honor matchup. Sumail with the CS advantage has gone for the first item, Bassi, which makes it kind of tough for the DK to last hit. DK, no Quelling Blade, is going to go for the Bottle Rush. So he's just going to be relying on the Breathe Fire as far as this lane goes.
Yeah, first little rotation of Zai hovering around the mid lane. Now, this wasn't properly scouted out until now, as Fly came down for the 2-minute rune. Zai is just gonna harass the Keeper of the Light away. But this gives a warning to the DK.
Oh, Sumail could be in trouble. An Invis rune from Jarex. This has not been scouted. They do know it was the actual rune down bottom, so Sumail probably being told, like, watch out for the haste, the Invis, some kind of high impact
Courier
rune.
snipe. Zai, is he going to get there in time? The Courier turned for a split second. It's got the bottle on it. Zai able to take it. Jirac coming behind it, and then on the bottom lane as well. The top lane Clockwork is the first blood. And EG will claim not only a Courier snipe, but you also lose the Clockwork.
What a start for EG. Always, you feel like as a DK mid and you go for that bottle rush, you have to bottle crow. Like you're against a range hero, you're being constantly harassed. Your way to CS is through the breathe fire spam. So you're like, all right, I've got a bottle crow. That's what DK does in mid lane. But losing your bottle because of how reliant you are about it can absolutely cripple you. And now this is going to be a pretty big period of time where Honor does not have the bottle at mid.
And they are going to, censor what was just put on the screen. Sumail's got to be careful right now. His breathe fires on up with the Fade Bolt, just had level 4. So the leap away on low life. Zai turns, going to get the stun into Ana, combining up with the arrow. Has a big stun. Sumail has level 2 Starfall. It should be enough damage or will it? Ana back to the tower. They missed uphill as well. And Sumail, now Jirac picks him up. Fade Bolt to bubble. It's only level 1. The damage is enough with bounce out. Jirac's playing it perfectly, and EG, well, the luck was there to get some early first bloods, but they just kept missing.
I want to say they had both heroes miss uphill there. That's what it looked like, at least. Perhaps it was the damage block from the high armor and the stout shield on one of them, but that was some very fortunate stuff for Honor, not going down there and turning it around with Rubik picking up the kill.
He needed something like that. Like, the Courier is going to be back up in 1 minute, so he'll have his bottle back at that point. But this has given him, like, room to breathe.
Absolutely, and for OG, you're kind of happy with all this like chaotic stuff happening in mid and top lane if the No-Tail Naga is being ignored, and that's been the case so far, and that is about to change.
Yeah, the smoke maneuver is SD as well as Lashrak coming in. No-Tail's got no mana. Like, his PMS will not protect him from this. Jirac's, he's got enough mana for at least one telekinesis or Fade Bolt, and he's going to have to make the choice. There's already Disruption, Catcher, Universe. Oh, he misses the stun! He didn't hit No-Tail at the right time, and the Split Earth misses! EG, a couple of things go wrong, and OG, there's a get out jail free card.
Thanks. That's first game of the day, still waking up. That was one of the snippets I heard from them going to play first match of the day yesterday. They're like, man, we play at like 60% when we're playing. They said like everyone plays at 60% of full potential in that first game of the day.
Well, we better make sure this whole series goes to 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These games are just going to get better game by game as the teams fully wake up, but you can't be making those kind of mistakes sometimes. It could be very costly if No-Tail stays alive. Doesn't even take damage. So it's not even like they send him back to base. He's still sitting down here, able to farm with his illusions, potentially even his hero once he feels it's safe that the supports are gone. This is an off-lane farming Naga Siren.
It may just not come to fruition. Mid lane, Jirac, there's your pick up over on Mirana, dragging it back with a Dragon Tail stun. The leap, he doesn't even get up the hill. Jirac's able to Fade Bolt him down. So OG now is Jirac. You've got to respect his rotations.
That's Jarex in a nutshell. He is the best ganking 4-position support out there, hands down. He makes these plays happen. He does on heroes that you can kind of roam and gank on Rubik, but you don't expect to be able to gank at mid Mirana. This is not like a 2-hero combo that you normally expect to find that kill, but the DK Rubik bring her down for a second time now, and Sumail is going to be perhaps getting a bit tilted almost after the 2 ganks coming his way, especially with those uphill misses earlier. This early game, to me, favoring OG a bit. Nyx is top of the CS. The CS-wise, it's not amazing for OG. It's just the fact they're getting away with the Naga farming in the offlane. The DK mid, his lane's been salvaged despite the bottle snipe. And if anything, that courier snipe is what's given EG what they need out of this earlier game.
Should flag to the fact like Arteezy bailed off that top lane. There was a small moment where S4 almost came in range to lock him inside Cogs with a level 3 battery assault. And I think Arturo probably realized he's completely alone on that top, just because they rotated down the SD as well as Lesh earlier on. So Illuminate going to go to work. Universe by Carapace returns as the Keeper of the Light. But this is the same combination we saw from OG yesterday, having both the high level up in Fade Bolt as well as Illuminate, the creep waves don't stand a chance. They get melted so quickly, and without that Chen pickup that the panel as well as yourself was looking for, EG don't have that early sustained push.
They have got Universe up to 6, so perhaps the plan is going to be try and snipe some of those annoying backline supports, the Coddle, the Rubik. If you can get a pick off using the Vendetta.
Jirax.
He's seen him though with the Dire Ward, so he has pretty good intel as far as what's going on here. There's even the Sentry Ward down between the towers and the TPM from Clock. They're possibly looking for that kill on Universe.
There's a level 6 up on S4.
They're hoping that he would just Vendetta in and try and counter-initiate using the Clockwork Hook, and Universe still may go for that play.
It's Storm coming back up. S4 potentially could have blind hooked that small little path. Now the Sentry's there. Jirax, well, it starts off with a disruption on Universe, in fact, not on Jirax.
That's the 60%. Everyone missing their spells. Crit, he disrupted Universe. He was trying to aggressively disrupt. Universe was also probably going for the Vendetta initiation. Then you missed the hook shot into the SC Illusions. Everything missing Toby. This is not the crisp play you'd normally expect from these teams, but it's such a high pressure.
So there's a lot of pressure on them to perform well in EG. The story of this whole Boston Major is them getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we see these teams go for kind of safe strats in that game one, just trying to test the waters. I mean, for OG, it's one of those things where you can mis-execute a gank like that, or they were trying to bait the Nyx into the Sentry, and yeah, they mess it up and should have gotten that kill, but they've still got their overall strategy and game plan working. The Naga is farming, has the arcane boots, has the max out mirror images, can farm the jungle, can farm the lanes. There hasn't been any real pressure onto Notel, nor does it look like there'll be pressure directly on him. More likely you see pressure towards towers. EG want to take objectives, use smokes, use the Nyx to go rotate around and find kills. They're much more concerned about gaining control of the map rather than ganking Notel 5-10 times.
Well, speaking of those smokes, we do have this maneuver from EG through the Dire jungle. Notel knows he's actually already backing up. This is around that time when you expect the Radiant side to look to that Dire safe lane tower to bring it down. So Notel's positioning is already perfect just to delay the lane out.
Yep, and he's farming. He's got his illusions in the jungle, so he just sends those out. He's not getting absolutely nothing while he's tucked away here, but he will poke his nose out soon, which could get scouted by the Radiant Observer Ward.
It's a very interesting time to actually bring a Luna on a rotation. Normally, like, we've seen a lot of Lunas throughout this series, throughout this competition, and especially with OG. Oh, they just Sentry Ward, Universe, he's visible, the Dragon Form, gives him the range stun, now hook shot forward, S4's gonna hold him there with the cogs, arrows coming in, Universe gets his stun off, but it's already too late. Clockwork will take the kill with the battery assault. And EG wastes a lot of time with 3 big heroes to gain nothing and in fact lose.
That's the big thing you mentioned, like with Luna not farming and going with the team for those smoke rotations, you really are looking to use the Eclipse. Find the level 4 Lucid Beam Eclipse to kill off a core hero, be it the Naga, the Dragon Knight, or even kill multiple heroes and then transition into a tower off of that. But EG getting jumped on because there's the Sentry Ward there means they're not getting a kill, they're not getting a tower to follow it up. And it is wasted time. It's time where Arteezy could have been farming. That's a bit of a concern for him. He is, well, not too far behind the Naga Siren, but that's going to get worse when the Naga has Radiance. What is good for EG is how farmed Sumail is. Sumail's, despite the 2 deaths, well on top of the net worth chart.
As long as he can get to that Aghanim, set the timing. It's the downside about having the Naga. She's going to hold on to a decent amount of money for now. But this will be a nice injection. The tier 1 tower will fall. It's a level 3 edict. Naga illusions don't really do a lot, and Notel's not looking to fight any. He's going for a 4-0-4 build. If you're thinking of even engaging early on, you want to have 1 point up in the Song of the Siren. Flying Gyros can keep the creep wave at bay, but that's an easy tier 1 tower for EG.
Yeah, but now this game's kind of at a tempo that's EG set, but it's still like feeling alright for OG. Perhaps they're not too pleased with the overall outcome of the mid lane with Onik. And going down the one time, losing his bottle, he's not farming all too well, but DK's not a hero you need to be doing big things on. We saw it with LFY, with Super, when he played these Dragon Knight games. As long as you get your basic core items, you get your Trez, your one, you get a BKB later, you get a Shadow, some kind of initiation item, the Shadow Blade or the Blink, you're going to be okay to do your role as a Dragon Knight. You can set up a fight, you can go in, and then the Clockwork follows you up. So just having one of those two tools and having enough farm as a DK is all you really need.
Oh, Universe. Expecting to be rotating around with that Vendetta not happening. Crit is actually looking up, calling out the stacks. It's not going to be too long before OG want to look to farm this, but for now, OG, defense of their T1 tower on bottom lane. They are going to trigger off the fortification. And then a Moonlight Shadow. Who are they looking for? It's actually to get on the top lane. Arteezy out there. But S4 hit the blind hook shot. He had a small bit of time to see him. But the Illuminate, the Sentry Ward, it does the work. And the Luna will fall.
Yeah, that's a great pickoff for OG when you're killing one of the key heroes of EG. Taking Arteezy down, they take a bit of damage on this bottom tier 1, but even that's being well defended. Then looking for an initiation on Zai.
If they can find him in the tree lines, Anna's going to make his way down. Jirax having that pulse smoke will give the extra damage, but now, well, they actually have Anna stuck in the tree line. Dire Creep Waves moving in, Universe under the cover of Vendetta, also in the neighborhood, but they drop a sentry ward, they see him straight away! OG! I don't know if they realize that Universe with the Spike Carabas might buy himself a little bit of space, but not enough to survive. S4's Cogs will keep Samel out this fight as well. And OG's sentry wards have been right on the money.
They've been game winning. It's ridiculous how they've caught the Nyx Assassin. It's not like they're buying, they're over investing in sentries and they're all across the map. They're just in the right place at the right time, catching Universe above that bottom rune earlier, catching him now at the bottom lane. They could have caught him between the T1 and T-Tower. They've read Universe's rotations perfectly this game. That is some impressive support play between Fly and Jerax, making those calls, and S4 hitting some really nice hooks onto that Nyx Assassin on a couple different occasions.
You still have the tower advantage going the way of EG. We expect this kind of stuff when you're running, maybe not the Lunar as much, but at least when you're running the track for the early pressure. Jirax out a long way, S4, the Observer Ward. He saw SD just moving in, and Crit, well, he is most definitely dead up on that top lane.
Nice little ops, because it's out of sentry range from that Cliff Ward, which is so common and popular. Does give OG another kill going their way. This game is really feeling very OG favored right now, just based on the continuous kills we're seeing out of S4's Clockwork. Farm-wise, it's not disaster for EG. It's even on net worth, but it's still an underfarmed Luna. This is not EG hitting their stride. They were hoping to be able to take towers, take objectives, use this level 4 Edict of Leshrac. They picked this hero to have a pushing lineup, and while Leshrac has been in the right place to kind of go for some towers from time to time, it never really has come together where EG is a 5-man unit, have everything they need.
Well, they keep losing their cores before the Leshrac can push. Like, Universe goes down, you're losing so much control through his stuns, through even just the fear of a Nyx Assassin running on the map. You're meant to, like, OG is meant to be fearing the rotations of the Nyx Assassin, but because they keep seeing him, because these supports have picked up so much money, they got so much money to spend on these utility items like Sentry Wards, that they're just checking every time where Universe is moving. And underneath the Orbs and the Sentry on bottom, it's actually more trouble for Artur. S4! A big wide hook, a secondary Sentry will be dropped. Arteezy with that Purge creep, actually slowing down Jirax for the moment. It's got another chance with elusive beams. Jirax in trouble. There goes your first disruption now from Crit. Jirax gets stunned up, hit by the Vendetta, copping a fair chunk of damage and will die.
Yeah, OG just looked to cut their losses there. Imagine it was like, look, we've got this relic coming, let's not lose a big team fight here. We can take a one-man casualty in the Rubik, but we don't have to lose too much more. If anything, they're probably concerned about the tower push coming now, with EG all grouped up towards this bottom lane. Got 4 heroes down here. They don't have Sumail on the Mirana, who's very close to an Aghanim Scepter. He's the player they're kind of looking to kind of transition into that mid to late game as the big carry here, with Arteezy struggling and be able to fight those Naga illusions.
Yeah, the Naga illusions is where my mind's going for the double Starfall. If Sumail can clear this out, then Notel's damage in the fights is obviously going to be drastically less. Yep. But then you look towards the DK. He's finally getting closer towards that armlet. He's behind the Luna in net worth, so it hasn't been the greatest DK game after his bottle got sniped. But the game of catch-up is always going to be better for OG, just because you're running a Naga and Keeper of the Light. Your global control is so good that it's more like EG is on the clock. to try and win this.
Oh, absolutely. The longer this goes, as much as Mirana can clear out waves and pseudo deal with Naga illusion, it's still Naga still is going to come out on top there over time. The illusions will split across 3 lanes. Mirana cannot be in all 3 lanes at once. Naga illusions will just get tankier over time once you get more and more items. The Octarine with the Manta with a potential Heart of Taras, that's where the illusions have too much HP to even burst them down. For OG, you want to make sure you have farm elsewhere. The Dragon Knight of Honor has an Ancient stack which he can farm a bit later on once he hits level 11. So for OG, I think I look towards them getting more farm and Honor because everything's going fine for the Naga. They want to make sure they have diversity with their damage output and with other heroes able to contribute. Because EG are playing for the long game. They picked up the Midas on Universe's Nyx Assassin. They've got the Helm of the Dominator Arteezy. He's farming Ancient stacks himself. Sumail's got the Aghanim Scepter. He's looking for the late game, of course. So even though there's a Naga on OG, the late game is kind of what EG have kind of recognized as where they're heading in.
Universe, how do you stay alive? Sit underneath your own sentry ward. That way you know they don't have vision of you.
It's a Radiance though, and I think they decide, let's not fight this Radiance song.
So DK actually triggers his Dragon Form with the extra sentry planted and the Obs Ward. That sentry is just out of range of the Radiant sentry. Arrow will fly between the middle of OG. The Observe Ward will be taken out. Universe. Oh, the Spike Cameras, the hook shot! S4's in! Disruption came from Crit, but it didn't do enough in time. S4 does get stunned up, but no tell. Resets up the fight with the Song of the Siren. Zai's just out of range of it, and that allows Ana to pick him up without turning off the Song of the Siren. Now Sumail into the tree, picked up by Jirax, thrown back into the middle of the OG sandwich, and 4 heroes down for EG. A tier 1 tower to boot, and OG, they look in great control of this game at the moment.
Yep. First thing Notel does with his Radiance is tell his team, let's go fight, let's go together, let's contest those Ancients and take a team. They get the initial pick-off. S4's Clockwork has been impressive to say the least. He has found initiation after initiation, and that sleep micro from Notel, he slept everyone but then moved his hero a bit further away so that the DK could finish off the Leshrac. So really nice positioning from him. Everything being played out just perfectly by OG in that team fight, and they get themselves the tower. They get a huge chunk of gold going their way. Notel pulls well ahead in overall farm. And Dragon Knight even looking a lot more competitive with the Luna and Mirana having stayed alive throughout that one as well.
EG's creeping up, 5-man smoke. They will move from their tier 2 tower. They were out of range of any of OG's vision, but is this a slip into Roshan? Will OG know about this? Or are they coming for the kills? The Radiant, they scan, they understand that OG is near the Ancients. Fly, well, he might be the sacrificial lamb for OG, a 5-man smoke maneuver. If they take the Ancients as well, it's worth it for EG.
Yeah, they feel confident knowing that.
Wait. That's a Vendetta Rubik with a Blink Dagger. Jirax is sitting next to the Ancients with a fresh Blink Dagger.
There's no sentries. There's no sentries to scan him out.
Well, where's your money anyway? You can't have sentries if you got no money on your supports. The stack is still not taken. Anna's coming in with his Dragon Form available. Jirax gets hit. Now the blink forward, picking up Arteezy, drags him back. The Ensnare will hold Artur in the middle of